I'm really tickled that John Mack's coming out. I'm going to join that peer thing that he's got and offer my services because I've been doing abduction counseling for about 10 years.
Have you?
Yeah, and it's fascinating, and all my experiences, I should say about 90% of the experiences I've had with people has been the positive side. And once they process the fear and the getting blown away by the experience, then they start to see the positive side of it. So I think there's something to it.
All right. Well, listen, I'm out of time here today, and you be in touch with me, will you?
I sure will, Mike. Thanks a lot.
All right, thanks for your call.
You bet. Bye-bye.
And, boy, what a weird day today. This is the weirdest day I've ever had.
It is. Okay, and then the fourth type was one that looked totally human, but very tall, about 6.5 feet tall. It was a male. He had long, wavy blonde hair, bright blue eyes, copper tone colored skin, and he looked just like us, except that he talked through his eyes and not through his mouth.
Was he nice?
Yes, very kind.
That's who they used to call a long time ago. There were books written about this creature back in the 40s, the 30s, and they called them creatures from Venus.
Oh, well, I don't know about that.
And they were the Venusians, and they were that blonde, and nobody would buy that because they looked almost angelic. Did they look angelic?
Yes, in fact, I call this one the angel-like man. That's how I refer to him. Okay, and then I've seen one that reminded me of a reptile. I call him the reptilian. He had long pointed ears and claws, jagged teeth, scaly skin, very ugly.
Oh, boy.
And then I've seen some others, females, with short brown hair, and I don't remember their eye color, but they look totally human also.
What about the reptilian one? Is that a scary thing to see?
Extremely ugly. I couldn't stand to look at him. I kept shutting my eyes.
You know, there have been a lot of movies and television shows that seem to be made and broadcast to prepare us for some of this. Close Encounters, I think, was somehow done to... do you know anything about that?
I don't know for sure, but I've watched that movie many times after I started remembering my abduction experiences, and so much of what's in that movie I can identify with myself. And it wouldn't surprise me at all to learn that that movie was part of the government acclimation program. I feel that at least one segment of our government is trying to inform the public about this phenomenon.
Yeah. There was another TV series called V a long time ago. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do. I don't believe I ever watched it, but I recall it being on. I tell you, Mike, what's on right now that I feel is consistent with the cases of many abductees, and that's the X-Files.
You know, that's the number. That wins its segment every week. It's the #1 show.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I didn't know that, but I do. Sometimes when I'm watching that show, when it's on the abduction phenomenon, I feel that they have taken information right from my case file.
Oh, boy. Back to the series B, what it came down to was that these were reptiles, and under this mask that they were snakes. And maybe this is part of it. Maybe, I don't know, somehow this is so scary that if they're snakes... I couldn't handle that.
Yeah, I don't like snakes very much.
Oh boy, so maybe this thing is so scary, the government doesn't feel that they can tell it, or people will freak out. Do you feel any of that?
Well, I really don't know the answer to that question. I do feel that they're trying to educate us a little at a time. That's just one faction of our government. I think there's still another faction that's trying to very much keep this quiet, maybe for their own, pocketbooks.
Yeah.
Technological advantages.
Do you think we have some of that technology has somehow been traded?
Well, I can only give you my opinion about that, but based on what I've read and heard, it seems that that's the case.
That there was some deal struck that they could do this. If we could get the technology, they would have the right then to go ahead and do these abductions?
I have heard that, and I do believe that that's a possibility, but I don't have any evidence myself.
All right, Lee, I'm going to do a break here, Lee, and come right back. to you. Maybe we can get both of you and Mark on here together here, okay?
Okay.
Okay, great to have you here.
Thanks. I'm enjoying it very much.
Okay, how's the book doing?
Great. It's selling very well.
Is it a bestseller yet? Do you know?
I don't think it's on the bestseller list yet.
Is it in all the bookstores?
It can be ordered through all bookstores. Now, White Light New Age Books there in Kansas City has it stocked.
Yeah.
And your listeners can order it. If you'd like the ordering information, I'd be glad to give it to you.
We'll do that right when we come back, okay?
Okay, great.
Okay, and this is Lost Was the Key. Leah Haley here with us on Talk Radio 810 KCMO.
The experts at Odell Tractor recommend that you take a closer look at Woods equipment. The Woods brothers introduced their undermount mower nearly 50 years ago. Since that time, Woods equipment has cornered the market on undermount, single spindle, and rear mount mowers. No matter what brand name tractor you own, Woods makes a mower for you. As a matter of fact, bring your tractor out so Odell can give it a once-over before the season really gets started. Now, there's really no beating around the bush. If you need ditch bank mowers, gear-driven cutters, multi-spindle gear drive mowers, or a multi-spindle belt drive mower, take Woods for a test drive. Call Odell Tractor Company now, 254-5100. Odell Tractor has Woods equipment in stock for immediate delivery. You can rent power equipment at Odell, too. Don't wait. Call Odell Tractor Company now, 254-5100. The Woods brothers make great equipment, and Odell Tractor Company is where you should go for great service. Odell Tractor Company, serving greater Kansas City for more than 30 years.
Friends, when starting a new life together, there are few things as sacred as the vows of marriage. One of those few things, however, is, of course, a new car. Therefore, our good brother, standing tall at the altar of automotive thrift, Midtown Sunny Hill, brings you his marriage carriage proposal. A loaded Oldsmobile sedan with AM/FM stereo cassette, airbag, anti-lock brakes, including Midtown Sunny's now famous A-Plan. 1-year scheduled maintenance at no extra charge. Plus, our #1 salesman and resident elder, the good Don Franklin, will perform your marriage ceremony, a $25 value, live on our showroom floor. The wedding, the car, the whole deal is Sunny's present to you, just $12,995 delivered. All you gotta say is, I do. Friends, for a low down payment on a life of wedded bliss, the magic formula is as simple as this.
Grab your honey, head for Midtown Sunny.
Sunny Hill Oldsmobile, the miracle on 34th Street. Future brides may register at the service department.
Come on, get into it.
Yeah, get into summer savings with a new Chevy truck.
Oh, yeah.
Like the all-new Chevy S-Series. Consumers Digest called it the best buy. And so will you when you see how little you can buy one for.
Get into it.
Or get into a Chevy full-size pickup. The only full-size worth getting into. Since Chevy trucks are the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. So come on.
Get into it.
At your local Chevrolet dealer.
And we are back here with the best UFO show ever done here on radio or anywhere else. And I don't come on here and say, most people don't believe this is nonsense and these people are crazy. And I don't know. There's been I don't know how many television shows here in the last month or so. It just seems like every show is doing this stuff. Leah, are you there?
Yes.
Have you ever been called nuts or when you do any of these shows and say, well, you're crazy or...
No. In fact, I probably have doubted my own sanity more than other people have.
You know Bud Hopkins?
Yes.
Bud's a good man.
Yes, I know Bud.
How about Whitley Strieber? Have you run into him anywhere?
I haven't met Whitley.
And John Mack just recently.
John Mack, I know. Yes, I met him a little over a year ago. We spoke at several conferences together.
How about Betty Hill?
I have not met Betty.
What a story that is. You talk about, what did you say? There was some kind of a needle that they used on you?
Right, to extract ova.
And that was the first case of when they used the needle, or tried to, and she says, don't do that.
Yeah, I've heard about that. I saw the movie about her case.
Well, let's get Mark back on here.
Yes, I'm on.
Mark, what do you think of all of this? Did you start out in abductions? Was that your thing or not?
No, I didn't. I started out trying to figure out the nuts and bolts of how these craft operate.
When did you get into this abduction phase?
Well, I guess in the early 60s.
Well, that's a long time ago.
Yeah, when Betty Hill's case came out, that's when I first started hearing about them. And in the mid-'70s is when I really started to research abductions.
What makes this such a good case, do you think?
Leah's case?
Yeah.
Well, for one thing, she has 2 master's degrees. She's very intelligent. She has physical evidence. She has scars.
What are those?
Well, she has scars on her body that, after these things occur, she'll wake up and have scars that are already healed.
The scoops?
Yeah, scoop marks. There was a little piece of brass that we guess it's brass. That's what the chemical analysis shows. That came out of her gum.
Out of her what?
Out of her gum behind her tooth. She has photographs of this EMP device that supposedly knocked the ship down. By the way, Leah's a CPA.
Wait a minute. Photographs of what?
This EMP electromagnetic pulse generator
Where'd
device.
she get those?
She walked on the beach. She can tell you about that.
Leah, let's put her on here.
Yeah, I'm on. We're both on.
Oh, okay. What about, you have photographs?
Yeah. See, when I discovered the possibility that an electromagnetic pulse device shot down the craft I was in, and several other investigators believe that's what happened, then I decided to go down to the Gulf Coast and see if the area down there looked consistent with what I had remembered about the crash site. So I walked 13 miles from Navarre Beach in Florida to Fort Walton Beach, which is just right, it's on Eglin Air Force Base. And I walked that 13-mile stretch of land and took a photograph of the electromagnetic pulse device. And I showed a slide of that in my lecture.
Oh, boy. Mark, are you there?
Yes.
What do you think goes on at Area 51?
Well, I think they're building and testing advanced aircraft there.
What happens if you fly over there right now?
Well, they'll shoot you down. First, they'll tell you not to. They'll tell you to get out of the area, and if you don't get out quick, they'll shoot you down.
They'll shoot you. They're
highly guarded areas on the planet.
And haven't they taken more land out there now?
Yeah, they illegally seized 86,000 acres just recently.
Do you think that's where we're keeping the ones that have crashed or that we've shot down or whatever?
Well, Bob Lazar says that he worked on reverse engineering some captured crashed flying saucers there, and so far there's been no way to either prove or disprove that. However, people do go there nightly, practically.
Yeah. Have you ever been there?
They do have some movies of craft that are doing some very unusual aerobatics. I've never been to Area 51 itself. I have driven by there in past years before I knew what it was.
What about Lazar? What's happened to him?
Well, as far as I know, he's still living in Las Vegas. He has become somewhat of a hermit because the media has hounded him so much. In fact, he was supposed to go to Japan and some other countries.
And they shot at him.
They shot at him, so he's kind of reclusive now.
Well, they say he doesn't exist, don't they?
Pardon me?
They say no such man exists.
Oh, well...
That there's no record of him being anywhere.
Some of his records someone tried to erase him. They tried to take him out of all the records.
Yeah.
He didn't quite succeed. He has a W-2 form that he had from the Department of the Navy. And he also was in a telephone directory at, I think it was Sandia or one of the laboratories.
Well, where do we go with all of this? What's going to happen? Anything happening here this year, do you think?
Oh, all kinds of things are happening. Leah and I are both going to speak this weekend at Los Angeles at UFO Expo West. It's a huge convention.
Who's all going to be there?
Yeah, Bud Hopkins and Alicia Davidson and G. Cope Shellhorn, and there's a whole long list. Leah, do you know some of the other names?
Michael Lindemann, Melinda Leslie,
Yvonne Smith.
How about me? Am I going to be there?
Well, we'd like to see you there.
Bob Dean, and many others.
How about, your family, and how's this affected everybody that has been close to you, Leah?
Oh, God. It's wrecked my life. I got a divorce as a result of all of this. One of my daughters will barely speak to me because I'm speaking out publicly about this, and she's afraid I'm going to bring ridicule to the family.
Yeah.
My mother is in total opposition of what I'm doing by, speaking and writing about this phenomenon. I got fired from my job.
Oh, boy. Listen, before we run out of time, what's your number there if people want to order this?
Oh, yeah, okay. They can mail us Well, for my book, I've got a brand new book out too, a children's book. So,
Okay.
To order Lost Was the Key, they can send a check or money order to Greenleaf Publications, P.O. Box 9386, Columbus, Mississippi 39705. It's $22.45, shipping and handling included. My children's book that's just now coming out, brand new, is $15.50, and that includes shipping and handling. And people can also, if they would like to order by MasterCard or Visa, call or fax 601-328-8152.
Hey, Leah, it was great to have you on here. Thanks a million. You were great. It was great to have you here.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it, Mike. Thank you for this time.
Okay, Mark, thank you very much.
Yes, thanks, Mike.
You be in touch with me now, okay?
Yes, and let me also say they can get visitors from Time and contact form at that same number.
Thanks, pal.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to come back with Kim, local abductee, and Steve Muro about counseling those who believe they have been taken when we come back here on Talk Radio 810 KCMO.
KCMO. Mike Murphy.
I don't know what I'm going to do here this hour. But whatever it is going to be good. Here's a man. This is a good day for a man that I don't even know. I don't know you, Steve.
Well, I know you, Mike.
But I feel like I know you. First time I saw you was like I've known you all my life. I don't know what that is.
I had a very similar feeling when I met you at the Hereford House, last year.
What do you suppose that is?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I've got a lot of opinions about it.
What do you suppose in all of this? And I don't.
Well, you can believe in past lives, which I do. I don't just believe in them. I've done past life regressions for many years, and I do believe, and not only believe, I know that we have lived before. And I think some of these recognitions, these deja vus, are just deja vus to other times and places.
When did you start listening to me?
When I first got here, and my mother. I was living in California for many years. My mother took seriously ill in the summer of '91, and I was guided to come back and help her. And been here ever since. It's been 3 years now. But this is my hometown.
But you started listening to me for some reason.
Yeah.
What was that?
Well, a friend of mine, Nick, who calls you every now and then, said, you got to listen to Mike. There's some really incredible stuff going on. And I'd already been very interested in UFO phenomena and situations and paranormal and psychic information, all this stuff. And I just said, I couldn't believe. See, I came from California where everything's wide open, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I come back here and Mike Murphy's doing all this incredible stuff. And I said, this is better than, more interesting.
Let me ask you that. What... I feel almost left out of all of this now. And I'm the one that started it all. And I've been with it for 50 years. And now I feel like I'm an outsider with everybody else getting involved in it with me. But do I have some part in this somehow?
It's obvious to me you have some part. I mean, I could not believe that I come back to good old conservative Kansas City, and I'm listening to Mike Murphy's show, and I hear John Salter, and I called in on the John Salter when you had him.
Great one, yeah.
And I feel talk about someone that I feel that I've known forever. It's John Salter. I feel very, very close to him, yeah. And I'm part Indian, like he is, and I'm the one that called and talked to him about the rainbow people. I don't know if you remember that.
No, I don't.
Yeah. I met him at the UFO conference last year in Lincoln, Nebraska. We just kept looking at each other. Every time we'd walk by, we'd just look at each other. And then I asked him when he gave his talk, I asked him a very important question because it was similar to my experiences and feelings. And he admitted something about his documentary and so forth that he'd never admitted before.
What was that?
Well, if you remember, there was the tall ET, which he called the hybrid. And he said at the UFO conference, he says, I feel very safe sharing this with other than my family. And he said, the tall ET, the hybrid, he says, I know was my son.
That he had fathered.
That he had fathered 21 years before, and when sperm was taken from him in Arizona.
Yeah. He's the guy that teaches a course at...
yeah, it's the only bona fide course in North Dakota University.
North Dakota, yeah.
Yeah.
In this stuff. And he's had some things happen to him. He hadn't been sick.
Yeah.
He did. He quit smoking.
Started growing hair where he never grew before, and he stopped smoking like that with no problem. Lots of interesting phenomena.
You talk to him from time to time?
I haven't talked to him recently, but I'm going to go up there and I'm going to make arrangements to go speak at his class. But I felt like long-lost brother when I saw him and met him. And he said the same thing.
Did you ever hear of a guy named Dennis Adams?
No.
He was Mount Shasta?
I've been there. I had a close encounter in Mount Shasta.
They say there's several points around it.
There sure are.
Whatever, vortexes or whatever.
Yeah,
And he came here one day, and I had a broken ankle with a cast on it, and he said, I'm going to heal that for you. And he put his hands on it, and I felt this electricity coming through this thing.
Oh, I heard about him, through Kathy.
Yeah. And he said to me, I don't know whether he told me this. I think maybe he told her this. He said, about me, he said, I was here for some kind of a reason as a messenger or something.
Yes.
And I cannot figure out why I'm still on the air. After all these years. But he said that, and I kind of, maybe it's true.
Well, I've traveled around the country a lot, in Canada and so forth, and you have more paranormal and UFO and this phenomena information coming out over the airwaves than anybody I know. I mean, I tune in every day because I'm hoping that you're going to have some more.
Yeah, but I don't believe in any of it. I don't believe it.
Well, explain that then.
Well, I don't know.
But you're fascinated, huh?
I'm just fascinated with it, and it's just since I was a little kid. It was like when I was born, that was my first thoughts were about why am I here and why is that up there and flying saucers.
Well, what do you think about that?
I don't know. And then we had this thing. I always told my wife, I said that. And she never believed in any of it. They thought I was nuts.
Well, see, I was the same way. Prior to my first close encounter where a craft followed me for 4.5 hours from Sedona to Las Vegas in the middle of the night, even science fiction I wasn't that interested in. I had no interest in UFOs. But I'll tell you, that was an eye-opener, and boy, oh boy, ever since then, I've been fascinated and read about it and study it. And I've had, as you can see from that list, I've had many, many experiences since then. I used to have things happen to me when I was a small child, too, like in Brad Steiger's book, Star People. And I read that book.
Wait, Brad, have you ever heard him on this show?
I heard him once. He's good.
I just found him. I didn't know the man.
He's famous. He's one of the old-time famous writers, yeah.
Oh, he's so good.
Yeah, really good.
He's, I don't know how many books. He's just a mess.
Oh, he's got a ton of them. He's co-authored with his wife.
Yeah.
But he's phenomenal.
So now you do what?
I do counseling. I've been, my background.
You counsel the odd?
I counsel the odd, the weary, and the ugly.
You counsel whom primarily?
I counsel, my background was in standard parapsychological counseling. I'd done past life regressions was part of it, but just regular counseling, marriage problems, children. I've counseled everyone from 3 years old to 80-year-old rabbis. And I've done it for almost 30 years now.
You counsel then the bewildered.
Yeah.
As we all are.
Yes.
So why?
If you're human, it's in your contract. You're bewildered.
You are indeed. What about angels? And you do something with the Archangel Michael.
Yeah. I don't expect anything that I'm sharing with the audience. I don't expect anyone to believe it, and most of it I can't prove anyway. But I was in Topanga Canyon in California and visiting a friend, and all of a sudden this energy just pinned between my shoulder blades, and it was like I was a puppet dangling in the air almost. And these words just came through me, and finally the words came through to this person, Archangel Michael. But he pronounced it in the ancient Hebrew, Michael. So, yeah, and ever since then, I've gotten real interested in angels. Again, I had no interest in it until that phenomena happened to me, and it was so profound. I mean, I cried, and it was really intense.
How about psychic phenomena?
Well,
and you do that, too?
Yes, I do that. Ever since my UFO, my first encounter,
I noticed that I was starting to, in doing regular counseling work that I've been doing for many years, I started seeing, I could just see people's mental pictures and what they were thinking. And I kept putting it away because you weren't allowed to do that in the counseling that I was trained in. It was very straightforward, left brain kind of program, right? So all of a sudden, I just started seeing things. And then I took some courses in the 80s, which boosted it up. And, it's like a muscle, Mike. We all have it. They call it in ancient, we call it the sixth sense or the third eye. And everyone has this potential, but it's like a muscle that you've got to exercise. And if you exercise it enough, you just get better and better. And I've gotten really, really good at it and very accurate.
How do you conduct that? Do you have seminars or what?
Yes, I do seminars as well, and workshops and private sessions.
And who did you bring here with you?
This is Kim. You've talked to Kim, I know already, on the air.
Hi, Mike.
How you doing?
I'm doing fine. Thank
She's
you.
very smart.
You know, I've never had her on. We've always kind of skirted around your story.
That's right. There's a reason for that.
What is the reason?
Well, the implications that come with people like me who come out and talk about our experiences, and it's just very difficult. So I'm real cautious as to what I do say, but for some reason, when I'm around you, Mike, I tend to open up and just have diarrhea of the mouth.
That's interesting, Mike, because every time I've seen you, and I've been with Herper Howe, and I've talked a couple times on the air, every time I see you, I just feel I'm supposed to spill my guts. It's something about you, Mike.
Yeah, you're here for a reason, for a purpose.
You're definitely here for some purpose.
Now, what can we do?
Archangel of the waves.
What can we do here with people? I said earlier that people who have had this abduction experience, I said earlier, I could not handle. I'd have to go away. They'd have to put me so far away, they'd have to feed me with a slingshot. I don't know how they can deal with this. I couldn't go to bed at night.
Mike, my first experiences were what you would classically call negative. And then after I had them in 1985 appear in my bedroom. And it was the most, they let me know that...
I didn't even know this had happened to you.
Yeah. They let me know that it's our own subconscious fears that comes to the surface when anyone who doesn't have a subconscious is around you, such as the ETs. And so this stuff it's our own fears that are coming to the surface. It's not anyone else's. It's not what they're doing in most cases. If you really get people beyond the fear stuff, they start to enjoy and understand their role and why it's happening to them.
Yeah, but this is so nuts that this could be happening. This is so against everything that we've always...
Well, they're given, to me, I call it the E.T. and Angel wake-up call, like, Betty Eadie's experience. We're all getting these wake-up calls. Look at all these shows that are going on. It's just phenomenal.
It's everything, everywhere.
And, when the mainstream... channels are having it, that it's out there. And look, last year they had the whole Time Magazine's front cover article was on angels as well.
Yeah.
I mean, and I understand that's usually the biggest thing happening in that week. Otherwise, it wouldn't be on the front cover.
We're going to come back here. What I had said earlier was that we were going to have you counsel maybe somebody out there who has had this experience here on the radio
My
today.
pleasure.
And if there are those out there, like Kim and whoever you are, that if it's as big as we hear it is, listening right now out there could be, I don't know, thousands of people that this has happened to.
Yes, it's just amazing how many people I've run across and people who know people. I can't talk to anyone. I've talked to people, little grandmothers, and they say, there's somebody, I have a cousin, or I have a daughter, or I have a niece. Everybody's got somebody who's had an experience.
Well, we'll get some calls here. 576-7681 is our number, and we haven't had the phones going here so far this morning, so if you want to get in to any of this that you've heard, come right in here now. We'll take some calls, 576-7681. The lines are all open. You can get in here right now, and if you have a child, 3 to 8, jot down an important number. Some programs help children learn, others help improve parenting skills, but the Early Achievement Program is the first to help your child learn better and make your life easier. This is an audio tape program that helps your child learn reading, so they can read and write and math and history and geography, and you learn how to make positive changes in your child's attitude and conduct that'll make your job as a parent a lot easier. And you can turn daily routines like shopping and cooking into fun learning experiences. And you'll learn easier ways to handle and even prevent discipline problems in only 15 minutes a day. For 3 to 8-year-old human being children, the Early Achievement Program will make happy parents and smarter kids who will say, yes, I am Einstein. For a free sample, call 1-800-95-TEACH. There is no obligation. You just call this number, 1-800-95-TEACH. 1-800-95-TEACH.
George Zimmer for the Men's Warehouse.
The Men's Warehouse is a fine men's specialty store. You're immediately surprised at how nice the store really looks.
Joe Wilcox, Livonia, Michigan.
I was impressed with your people. I was impressed with your store. And most of all, I was impressed with your price.
And we go out of our way to make it a pleasant experience.
When I went over to Joseph Banks because they had a sale going on, they didn't even have a salesperson come up and talk to me. I was really upset. So I went over to your store. They had all the suits that I needed in my size. I tried them on. I bought 6 of them, but found that you had shirts on the rack, the size 37 sleeves, which are very hard for me to find. You had shoes, 13D is what I wear, and you had them right in stock. I just wanted to let you know I'm really impressed.
We are not a place where you can buy a cheap suit cheap. We are a place where you can buy quality designer clothing at a 20 to 30% discount. I guarantee it.
For the store nearest you, call 1-800-776-SUIT. The Men's Warehouse.
Water's Edge at Lake of the Ozarks, next to Lodge of the Four Seasons. Completely furnished lake condominiums for rent. Water's Edge. Fishing, swimming, skiing, tennis, championship golf. Water's Edge. Everything you want to do. Nothing you have to do. Water's Edge. 1-800-543-4521. Water's Edge Condominium Rentals at Lake of the Ozarks. Condominiums for rent. Stay a night, a week, a month. Stay as long as you want. Water's Edge. 1-800-543-4521. Call now. When you come to the lake, you may think you need a hotel, but you deserve the privacy, the luxury, the relaxation of your own personal condominium. Water's Edge. You deserve it. Call 1-800-543-4521 or call your travel agent and find out how you may qualify for a free night stay. That's 1-800-543-4521 or call your travel agent. Water's Edge.
Join Talk Radio 810 KCMO in celebrating 25 years of theater in Shawnee Mission Park with the classic musical My Fair Lady. You can take the whole family and enjoy this incredible production of My Fair Lady under the stars Thursday through Sunday at 8:30. Admission's only $1 per person for My Fair Lady at the theater in the park. From Talk Radio 810 KCMO.
All right, we're back here. Steve Muro's here, a conscious channel who has spent most of his 30-year professional career as a counselor and teacher in the Western states, and is I don't know, how would you describe yourself?
6'2", dark hair. Not bad looking for my age.
Out of the norm, kind of out of the mainstream.
Well, it's funny. I feel. Some days I do feel way out there when I am way out there, but I'm here to do, I feel we all have a mission, we all have a job, and we agree between lives to do it, and we do it. You surrender to it.
Think you've been here before?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I don't. Some people come, Einstein and these people, and Mozart, and they sit down in their four, and they know all this stuff, and they write, and they come.
How do you explain that, Mike?
Mathematics, I got here, I don't know a damn thing. Not anything. Let's get Mark in here. Mark, you're on KCMO.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
I just got a quick question here. When people have such an experience as this, and if they were religious prior to this, if the religion continued, or how they kind of weigh which is more important to them.
Can I answer my own experience?
Sure.
Mark, my own experience is I got much more religious after this because I was privy to certain information that the ETs, at least the positive ones, which is the majority of them in my understanding, are very, very religious and very spiritual, more than religious, I guess you would call it. And I started attending church again. And, that's been my experience.
So they have a supreme being also that they probably believe in.
Very much so. And
it's all the same supreme being.
Yeah.
It is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they many times they call it all that is,
as opposed to God or whatever, to simplify it.
Whoever's created the universe, or it's the same wherever you would be.
Everywhere you go.
Okay, real interesting. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Chris, you're on KCMO.
Yeah, I've had 3 or 4 different experiences through my life, and I was wondering how I can find out more about them. The first one happened when I was about 4 or 5 years old.
All right, why don't you shoot it in here?
Okay, what happened was, I remember the clouds kind of opening up, and at the time I thought God was visiting me. And I took it as that for years and years and years. I just always remembered that God visited me. And it wasn't until I was like 2021 that it came to me that it wasn't God as much as it was something else, because it gave me a message that I wouldn't remember till the right time, and there was something real important I would remember. I've never remembered what the quotation or what the message was, but I've had a real strong feeling that it was a UFO type situation. Since then, I've had 2 or 3 different sightings, and one that I don't really remember. I was supposed to pick up my girlfriend, and I was an hour late picking her up, and I don't remember why.
Missing time, huh?
Yeah. This was back in 71 or 72 when that happened.
Yeah. I've had similar things where I was told that you would be getting some more information in the future.
Yeah.
They always communicate to you on a need-to-know basis.
Okay.
And so as not to disrupt your evolution, because they really love us.
Okay. Well, how do I go about finding out more about it? Because I have a real ability to, a psychic ability, but only in certain areas, like in plane wrecks and disaster type situations.
Mm-hmm. There's the bottom line I found in any good counseling is you have to feel really safe. So you find someone who, perhaps a hypnotherapist, someone that you really blend with well and feel comfortable with, and work with them. And if you feel safe, then you'll open up.
Okay, how do I find someone like that in the Kansas City area?
Well, what about John Carpenter?
Well, John Carpenter's down in Springfield.
Wait a minute, what did you say? You swear?
He's down in the Springfield area. The problem
He's as good as they get.
He and Bud Hopkins work very close together.
Yeah, but the problem is what?
He caseload.
He doesn't have any time.
Overwhelmed, absolutely overwhelmed, and that's the problem we're finding, is that there just are not enough people out there, and we need good organizational networking to be done, and I think that's what part of Steve's agenda is.
Yeah, one of the things I was guided to do.
You can do this.
Yes, I can. Yes, I can, and I do it. And I do it regularly. And if you can call me if you want to, and I'll be happy to set you up. Or one of the things I'm supposed to do back here in the Midwest is to train people as well.
Oh.
How to do this.
Well, I'd like to get involved in that.
Wonderful. Well, if you want, Michael, it's 816 area code.
Let me catch up with you.
Okay.
Okay.
753-4271.
4271.
Yes.
That was area code 816?
Yeah, 753-4271.
Okay, and your name is, again?
Steve Muro. M-U-R-O.
Okay, and have you ever heard of anybody? I've had a sighting where, have you ever seen magnesium when it burns real bright?
Yeah, uh-huh.
Okay, I was on a country road, and just off the top of the trees, like a ball of magnesium just came up, just as bright as I've ever seen, and just took off and was gone just in about 30 seconds, all completely gone.
What size was it?
I'd say probably 15, 20-foot round.
Mm-hmm. Those are usually remote units, and they're sensor devices.
Oh, so they have been, you have heard of those before?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought...
Yeah, sometimes they have little bitty ones that are like a few inches across, the little remote units. They can send them out, and sometimes they are that size. Usually you don't see them quite that big.
Uh-huh.
And some of them are actually a little larger than that, but usually when they're real, they're just like an energy ball, right?
Oh, yeah.
How about the Missouri spook light? Does that fit in there anywhere? You know anything about that?
I've never heard of that,
It's that
Mike.
ball, it's a ball of light, and it comes right up, it'll come right up out of the woods and come right up on and dance on your car. It's a strange thing. So they've been seeing it down there for 200 years. Down in southeast Missouri. Down the Boot Hill.
Uh-huh. Never heard of it.
Well, this just raised off the top of the trees and then just took off, and I watched it till I couldn't see it any further.
What's your name?
Chris.
Chris. Chris, why don't you give him a call and Have you been listening to this show this morning?
I just turned it on.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, we had a real good hour before.
Oh, was it on?
It was about a woman who's was abducted and then shot down by the U.S. military.
Oh, boy.
Aboard one of these things. So I got a break here.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. We'll be back here with you on Talk Radio 810 KCMO.
Talk Radio 810, KCMO, Kansas City, presents Mike Murphy.
Well, that's the craziest thing I ever heard. We're back here. We're going to channel the Marx Brothers in here. And we were just talking about another strange. Dr. Raymond Moody, the first life after death, what do they call those experiences?
Yeah.
After death.
Or near-death experience.
NDEs.
Yeah.
Who told me the last time he was on here that he had to come up with a way that you get a mirror 4x4 and you put it somewhere and you surround all the other parts of the room with black velvet, I believe he said, whereas only the mirror is showing. Then you sit off to an angle and you can see your grandma or whoever you want to talk to will come in through that mirror.
Or your grandma.
Yeah, my grandma. Or somebody's grandma.
Somebody's grandma.
Hey,
wasn't my grandma.
How you doing? Granny Frickert. But so that's another fascinating area there. 5767681 is our number if you want to get in here. Let's get Linda in here. Linda, you're on KCMO.
Hi. I've never had an experience with UFO activity at all, but I'm very curious about it because I have pretty much surrendered, or I've fulfilled the free will thing, and now I've kind of aligned my will with thy will be done. And in that place inside myself, I know that there's so much more to life than just what you see. And I know that this activity is so. I know that it's so, but I don't understand it. And I've heard that at night, sometimes we're beamed aboard a spaceship where we learn and we don't remember. And that's kind of scary to me. And I think so much of America, if they even wonder about UFOs or that activity, they're afraid of it. And what can we do to not be afraid? And also...
That's a real good question. Let me stop you right there. That's real good.
I have lots of questions.
Yeah, go ahead, Steve, with that.
Well, I can only share my personal experiences, and they have, I would say 95% of them have been positive. They have been absolutely wonderful. And sometimes when I've been waking up in the middle of the night, and they've been doing things to me and with me, and sometimes up in the ships, the next day I wake up like I've had the best sleep, and I feel better and lighter and brighter. So it's all been positive experiences for me. It's just that it's our own, really, my experience is it's our own fears that we're dealing with that comes to the surface. And they've told me that that's one of their jobs, is to help us process our subconscious, because we cannot evolve with the subconscious.
So once we face our fear, then it goes away?
Yeah. It's like you transform the fear. You know that fear, I discovered fear and excitement are exactly the same energy, just with different definitions.
Well, the Bible says that perfect love casteth out fear.
Yeah, exactly. Same thing.
Okay. And I wonder if I've heard that you can be beamed above to a spaceship consciously if you ask to be, especially in your case where you've seen them yourself. If you're beamed aboard a spaceship consciously, what part of your body, or does all of your physical body, is it all beamed up, or just your mental body, or what part of you is beamed up, and is any of you left behind here on the Earth?
I hope so. It's something to come back to. I've had both experiences. Most of mine have been, and most of the people I've talked to, is they've had these funny dreams, or what you might call a lucid dream, very real dream. And my experience has been those are really happening. But it's what you'd call our soul body, or light body, or whatever you want to call it, our soul, because we're not just physical, we are souls, and that's who they dialogue with.
Okay. Well, that's really interesting.
But if you have the interest, my experience has been that there is no such thing as idle interest. Anyone who gets drawn back to this information or this situation has had those experiences. They may not remember them, but they're there.
I've woken up in the morning, and the word Israel just keeps, I see it on license plates. You know, The word Israel just means so much to me, and I don't know why. It doesn't make any sense, yet it feels good.
This I heard from someone several years ago in California who was very involved with this, that they had information that there was a rather large mothership that hangs out over that area of the world, and they told me that the name of the ship was Israel.
What area of the world is that?
Over that area, over the Middle East.
Oh, like way stations to other, to going home to be with the Father or something.
Exactly. If you ever have these dreams that you feel like you're in a hospital or classrooms, and a lot of people hear that, say, I go to school at night when I dream. My experience has been, because I've wandered around some of the motherships that I've connected with, and they look kind of like very, very modern hospitals if you look at them, because they have room after room after room. And we do go, my experience is we do go to class at night often.
Do you get your information from meditation, or do you consciously beam up a lot? I mean, what kind of connection are you talking about?
Both ways, yeah.
And you can do it just according to your will, like you just say, I want to do this?
There's a lot of things we'll let ourselves do if we're not afraid.
Right.
But there's many, many, many ships around the earth, from 22 to 27 different civilizations at any given time. And we're connected with certain one-or-ones, and those are the ones, that's where we go. They know our vibratory frequency, our soul frequency, and they can just go zip, and you're there.
Do they give you the thoughts that you should go there, or do you have the thought, I want to do this?
Well,
is it both ways, or?
It's both ways. My experience has been that we asked for these experiences, and that's why they're happening. They're all to accelerate our growth into as the book of Revelations is speaking, and Nostradamus and all these predictions, we're getting prepared for the big show.
Yes, I know that's so. That's so. But of course, it's beyond our comprehension at this point.
Well,
what is the big, how?
You see, we have two brains. We have the left one who can't make any sense out of this, and we have the right brain, the feeling part of us that knows exactly what's going on. We feel it more because our feelings, in truth, are more accurate than our thought.
Yes, but fundamentalist churches everywhere would tell you that if UFOs become public knowledge, if the president said, yes, here they are, and they revealed themselves, every fundamentalist church in America would say that this is Satan revealing himself, and this is...
I understand.
So there has to be a plan where all of this works out, right?
Well, listen, Linda, I wish we had all day.
Okay, thank you.
But you were very good, and thanks for your call here.
Thank you.
Okay, and maybe you can comment about what she said here about the religious aspect of this one when we do this break.
Okay.
We'll be right back here with you on Talk Radio 810 KCMO.
The doctors at Midwest Eye Institute are experts at improving your vision safely with the FDA-approved procedure, radial keratotomy. RK not only corrects nearsightedness and astigmatism, but can free you from the hassles of glasses or contacts. Of course, you may still be...
Here before... So I have some time here. Last year when the Dodge Intrepid hit the roads, folks went nuts because this is what an innovation. And Dodge has done it again with a new Dodge Neon. But this is a low price four-door sedan built on the same design principle as the Dodge Intrepid, and with a cab forward, and you know all about that. So if you haven't heard or seen the new Dodge Neon, get out and see my friends at Dale Martin's Dodge in Lee Summit. Smooth ride, glues to the road. Their number is 525-9825. You might call them and ask them if they have a silver one. Or take the short drive out to Lee Summit, and you find Dale. Boy, what a great guy he is, as all these Martins are. At 50 Highway and the 3rd Street exit in Lee Summit. And you folks down in Warsaw, remember Hank that was there. Maybe you knew him from Dale Martin's in Lee Summit. He's down there with his own place now. Dad, Henry, has got all the kids. And I don't know how many there are, 5 of them, I guess. And so they're all over town. And Hank is down in Warsaw now. And that's what Henry started out with. When he started out with Chevrolets. And that's what they have down there. They have Chryslers and Plymouths and Dodge cars and trucks and Jeeps and Eagles and Chevrolets. Hank Martin's Motor Company at the junction of Highway 65 and 7 North in Warsaw. Whichever Martins you go to, you be sure and tell them I sent you. Okay, Steve Muro is here with us. And...
you got to let Kim tell her story.
And Kim, I don't know. I was just thinking what I'm going to do. I want to do with Kim. You want to tell your story in a minute or two?
Oh, I can. Go ahead.
You want to or not?
Well, I can, yes. Which one?
I know you don't like to talk about it.
Well, there's several ones.
Okay, what about which one do you like to tell?
Well, I just think it's important to get the word out that, yes, there are people willing to come out and speak about their experiences. And I won't go into many details, but one of the experiences I've not talked about on your program is an incident that took place July 4th, 1992. I was with my father and my 3 children, and we were driving from Tempe, Arizona to Oceanside, California. And for 3.5 hours, a silver cigar-shaped UFO followed us in synchronicity. You know, we were going about 70 miles an hour on Interstate 8, and for 3.5 hours until we got into the foothills of the mountains, and then it disappeared. I'd like to go back and have a regression on that and see if I can recall anything. We did not have any missing time, but we thought it was real interesting. Why were we being followed for 3.5 hours in the Arizona desert?
That's what happened to you too.
Yeah,
Steve.
Exactly. I didn't have any missing time at that time. I had other times, but it was about 4.5 hours that followed around from Sedona to Las Vegas on the way out to California.
Are these things still happening to you?
Oh, yes, they are.
Oh, yes, they are. On a very regular basis for me.
As recently.
You too?
Oh, yes.
Both of you?
As recently as last night, yes.
Mm-hmm. Well, last night what?
Last night I had 30 minutes of missing time. This is really strange. You know, not last week, but the week before, Dateline had an episode with Dr. John Mack, and they had the feedback. And so I was interested in the feedback. I was so upset with the interview. It was done in such poor taste and, biased opinion. And so I fast-forwarded through the tape.
That was that Jane Pauley thing.
Right, exactly. And I fast-forwarded through to the feedback segment, which took, a couple of minutes to fast-forward through an hour, because that's toward the end of the program. And I had missed almost 40 minutes of time, 30 to 40 minutes. I wrote it down, but I don't understand. I viewed the tape for about 3.5 minutes, and if I wanted to, I could have watched that whole tape fast-forwarding through the commercials in 45 minutes. So I don't know where the time went. I just know that these things occur on a regular basis, and you just keep track of them. I don't try to figure out exactly what it is. I just try to process it.
What do they tell you? Do you have conversation?
Well, right now I'm being taught, and I don't know what they're teaching me. And it was like the caller earlier, Linda, I believe, that was asking about that. We are definitely being taught things, and the only conscious memory I can recall that is so important to me is the connection with the 2 spirals meeting each other up at the top. And it's very confusing and frustrating for me, because I know I'm being taught numerous things, but I don't recall them.
You can't figure out
No, and I've undergone hypnosis for this, and you just cannot pull that out of hypnosis.
Kind of like crop circles. They're doing something with those, and we can't figure out what it is that they're doing.
Yeah, what I've been told, Mike, up there is that if you put them all together, like from the beginning, you will get the message. It is a step-by-step message that they're giving us.
Like pictograms.
Yeah. And when you get all the steps, then you get the mental image of what it's all about.
Okay, you have a tape here that you gave to me about Pope John Paul. John Paul.
Yeah, on KCMO on March 15th from, you have the Art Bell show here, and I couldn't sleep that night. That's what they call the Ides of March, March 15th.
Yeah.
And I just kept waking up and tossing, and that's not, normally I sleep like a log. And all of a sudden, then I'm about 3 o'clock, I'm wide awake, one of those nights where you just, you're just going around the bend trying to get your sleep because you got things to do the next day. And all of a sudden, my arm just kind of goes over and hits the radio, and I usually have 8:10 a.m. turned on for, guess who, Mike Murphy, usually on my radio. And Art Bell says, I have a transcript that I'm going to read. People keep asking me to read this thing, and it was the diaries that were discovered by a cleaning woman, I don't know when, I gathered in the last few years, in the Vatican. And it was Pope John Paul, the Pope who was Pope between 58 and 63. And these are, he'd read the whole transcript, and he does it. He says people keep asking him to do it. And it has all this phenomenal information, and he was privy. First, he said Christ appeared to him, and he was overwhelmed, of course, with gratitude. And he said, Mother Mary, Virgin Mary, is going to come next, and she will have information for you. And she appeared to him over several times, and he marked it down in his diaries of exactly what happened. He wanted to give this information out, but he was told not to do it, that it wasn't the right time. And it was he was told about John Kennedy's death, when it was going to happen. It was to the year. He was told about AIDS and something else that was supposed to be even worse than AIDS is supposed to happen, and that through the 90s, and information all through for up to the year 2000. And one of the things that was said in the Pope's diary, and this is like bona fide by people who know his handwriting and everything, that on June 5th, 1995, next year, that we are going to have mass sightings all over the world, and they're going to be coming. These strange beings, is the way that it was described, are going to be coming and to give us information.
All right. I want to get into that further, and
to help us.
I'm going to see if I can play that part of that tape back here soon. I want to get Diane's been holding on there. Diane, you're on KCMO. Hello? Hello, Diane, are you there? Nope, I guess we lost her. And that was, she'd been holding on there. So that's that's about it here today. Boy, that was a lot. I'm not doing as many as these shows, but when we do them, we're going to make them big.
Oh, we miss them. You have no idea how many people I talk to. We miss these shows. We look forward to them, Mike.
Oh, boy. Now, what do you do? You call yourself then a counselor?
Yeah, I do counseling. It's intuitive-based because I have that ability.
Do you do regression?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Are you able to do that?
Yes, I've been doing that for almost 30 years. Yeah, I can do that.
People that have this missing time.
Yeah.
Probably a lot of them listening right now.
Some people come to me for straight counseling, and I do that as well. But the nice plus is that I have this intuitive ability, this God-given gift.
What do you think about this Gordon Michael Scallion predictions?
Well, it's real simple to me. Things are fear-based and growth-based, and some of his stuff is fear-based, and I'm not into that.
Thank you, folks, for being here. Out of time. Thank you. Beth Albright is next. Good night.